you learn how to be forgiving, and you learn how to manage. You learn how to adapt quickly, as quick as possible.
Hello everyone, come back to another episode of Ms. podcast. And today another special guest that I will bring to the show is Charlene. She's one of my good friend and also another life coach in Singapore that is been very successful in her coaching with a lot of clients. And let's welcome to our guest today. Hello Charlene.
Hi, Anne. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you again.
Thank you for take my invitation and to be a guest in the show. I know you've been busy in this period as well. Thanks for taking the time and to come to our show and share with people. So let's share a little bit about who you are. Of course, I know who you are and what you're doing, but let our audience know a little bit about who you are and what you've been doing right now.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Charlene. I come from Singapore, and I've been doing life coaching work since like 2018, helping a lots of individuals who actually need some breakthrough in their life. Right. The breakthrough that I'm talking about is mainly for those who are overwhelmed and struggling, having to have family life and also the career life at the same time, and how do we balance both sides, and how do we have it all instead of like having to choose one side and then feeling guilty about the other side, right? So the balance point is actually how do we find back in us. So that's what I do. Coaching is like a tool, right? So I'm using this to help people. So I think I've come to realize that people need help, especially at this time, kind of time in the COVID time, the pandemic seasons. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, right now.
I think it's a lot of people didn't realize how important mental health is until COVID happened. So how was this yourself in this middle of COVID? How was the life going on with your kid and your little family?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And because unfortunately I fell sick during the right after the circuit breaker time.
Mm,
I'm not so sure whether you noticed. I kind of like posted in the Facebook recent months as well. I actually
yeah.
went through a major surgical surgery itself, and it went
Oh,
into
sorry to hear about that.
complication.
But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you well right now.
I'm
So
well,
how was that
yes.
period for you?
Well, it was not good, to be honest, and lots of stress definitely during the circuit breaker time, like the lockdown period. A lot of us is at home,
Yeah.
the work has to be done at home together with kids' studies and together with the entire household job. In Singapore, our house is like tiny little apartment,
Yeah.
and you have to squeeze every single one inside, and you gotta
Inside the
be
house,
confined
yes.
within that square itself, right? You can't go out. There's
Mm.
no entertainment, and stress actually cooked up inside our room, our house, right? And
Mm.
especially it put a toll on my health. Yeah, I have to went through that late 2020 itself. Yeah,
Uh,
and
then
I'm glad that
how do you manage to go through that? Because I have kids as well. I know it's not
yeah.
easy for you and your kids stuck in the same household together
Oh
for
my god,
every
seriously.
hour in the day. Yeah. So
Yeah,
how do you manage to go through that?
that was actually a very interesting period of my life. I will say that
Mm.
you learn how to be forgiving, and you learn how to manage. You learn how to adapt quickly, as quick as possible. So the
Yes.
adaptation actually come in pretty late for me, I would say. Though that I know what's going on, I know I need to adapt, but
Yeah.
how do I manage? A stress portion actually comes right after my surgery, right? So the stress in me was built up, and it is actually add on to the complication of the health itself, right? So
Yes.
yeah, that's the portion that I realized that it is very important for people know how to manage the stress properly. It's not just by like last time when we're stressed, we just go have a drink, have a movie, and then you just go shopping. You can't do all these things, during the lockdown period.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it's a very interesting because life coach is very big topic that we have
mm,
to go with our client in different area of their life. But stress is the one of the big topic right now in the middle of COVID. I
yeah,
think almost everybody that have even slightly stressed or like extremely stressed level. It depends on how different family situation. I think that would be interesting to know, like how do you dealing with a client who come with you with a stress in the middle of COVID right now?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And before we go into how do we help the client, we gotta help ourselves first, right? So maybe I,
Yes.
I start off with how did I actually notice it was actually stress that caused into a lot of health issue for my case, right?
Yes.
And I used to be working in a high fast-paced environment, and then and a lot of things that I do is it requires a lot of attention, and it requires a lot of people management. When we come to dealing with people and connect with people, sometimes your opinion and my opinion may be different, right? So
Yes.
that causes tension,
Mm.
and sometimes if it's too high tension, it can cause into a stress that keeps you not able to sleep, and then your health is actually maybe your high blood pressure is actually going up, and then
Yep.
chronic cases can lead to a heart attack, right? So
Wow.
those are the stresses that's actually coming from outside towards us, right? Actually, the stress is actually coming from us. How we respond. Stress actually, it is an impact that is happening to us that we lost the ability to respond properly, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the body response in a way that we see those stressful events, like how people treat us, like how am I dealing with other people, as a part of the stressful situation, right? So when we can't respond, our body act up, all the stress hormones start to build up, and actually it is actually for the goodness for us to protect us because we'll be on high alert. But the problem is those I would say that the autonomous systems in our body, like breathing, digestive system, or blood circulations, kind of like get tense up a little bit. And that
Yeah.
is actually why you have a shallow breathe when you are in a stressful moment, and your stomach feels bloated because you can't digest food properly. And then you may have
Mm.
like cold hands and feet, right? So
Yeah.
those are the symptoms of the stress itself, when why people are having stress. And it's actually before our brain tell us that we can choose differently, and then we already start acting up, like
Yeah.
scolding people, like stress out, that kind of thing. So for me, I understand this quite in a way that right after my health problem. So I realized that there's a need for people to understand how to respond to all these things and how to build up the inner capacity, which I want to share a
Mm.
bit more on that later on,
Yeah.
for you to grow bigger, so that the stresses in the environment doesn't seems like it's a big deal, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So
Uh,
it's actually education on myself first. Yeah.
it's interesting because you bring up a cause of getting stressed, because if people who don't even have awareness of they are actually inside stress right now, so that is the thing, like the sign that you bring up, and a little bit tip for people to realize, like you have to understand why you get sick in the first place, and then now like we're talking about how to solve the problem, because I think most of people don't even think they are in stress, because to be honest, back then when I'm being stressed and depression because of my marriage and my I had just have a newborn. People say you too stressed and you too harsh to yourself and you too negative and I think you're depression. I didn't realize that because I just think every mom is like that. You give birth to a baby, you have to go a level of stress that every mom have, and I think that is a normal. But actually, I should don't treat that as normal, because that's not normal. Everybody have a different help when
Yeah.
it go to give birth to a baby, but I don't
Yeah.
have certain help when I deliver a baby in the foreign country. So that is the thing that now I look back, I wish I know the knowledge that I know right now, like you, to aware of I'm actually in stress right now and I should looking for help, right? So thanks for
Mm.
bring that like
Yeah.
awareness a little bit, so people aware of their stress. So